The whole question of development goals, of bringing people to the center of policy making, catering to their aspirations and needs. There are two curious nuances to Norway's position. The one, of course, is that it is a champion in promoting this new way of existence. And the second is that it makes all its wealth through fossil fuels.
Yes.
And some of us wonder, is it the guilt that makes you commit more funds to the SDGs? Or how does it work out? What is,
I'm lucky to say that not all of our income is coming from oil and gas and fossil fuel. We still have some other businesses there. We do make excellent salmon, for example. Fisheries is important for us. Our whole maritime industries are important. And, one of the reasons why the energy, the solar system is be better in the world is that Norway is very good on making this silicium even more better at transforming, and be more efficient on energy. So there is different other aspects to our economy, but of course oil and gas has been an important part. That's also why we have a large sovereign fund, because we have saved most of the money for the coming generations. It's not guilt, it's responsibility. It's because we believe that the world's problem is also our problems. If we don't cope with climate, if we don't cope with the oceans, and to make sure that they are healthy and can be used sustainably, then our model of growth will also be disrupted. It will be more difficult, and I think that's one of the reasons why we have a high activity on international issues and on global development. And then, of course, we are. It's some fossil fuels are still important for some transition. For example, in Europe, they will need gas for several decades in the future to transform from coal to gas. And we are a delivery of gas, and we are the only one with a large amount to deliver beside Russia. So it's also about security policies in Europe. So I'm not ashamed of that. It's led to great jobs, great technologies, and it will lead to great technologies for the future. For example, is our subsea service business is now moving towards new waves, new types of wind power and floating. So technology investments are important.
So a large part of your savings today are being deployed to create renewables and new forms of technologies.
They are created to make sure that our future is secured, our pensions are secured, but they are investing on the stock exchange of the world, and they are investing wisely.
They're investing wisely. And are they investing green?
They are also investing in green, but not only green.
Not only green.
But they are also investing in green, and we are also using parts of our in our budget to work on in developing countries on solar energy and things like that.
Let me ask you a question about the political model of Norway now. Women in leadership roles. You are a government where the top 3 or 4 positions are occupied by very wise women leaders. How did this come about? How different is this leadership? And what are the lessons that Norway can share with the rest of us of the advantages and the benefits of having diversity in shaping your country's trajectory?
Well, I'm the second female Prime Minister in Norway, and I think it's been easier for me than for the first, and for those who were in the forefront in the 80s for more women into politics and into the government. And I think the change was bigger at that time, to be honest, than it is today, because Norway in a way has matured, so the people are not so. It's not such a special thing. I mean, you can. Yes, it was the first time we had a foreign affairs minister that was a woman. It was not the first woman who was a finance minister. It was the second one. So we have come into a more normalized situation when it comes to women leadership and women participation. But I think it had an influence in the 80s and the 90s on transforming maybe a little bit of the political life to be more also connected to everyday life for people. The conflict between women's labor market participation and taking care of the family, for example, so that the maternal leave permissions, which is now divided between men and women, and father and mother is both getting leave at different time, and they have to take it. It's that I think came because more women in politics could focus on what was the issues. If you want more women to work,
Then
and
you
I
have
want
to-
to work them, have them to work full time. You have to sort out with the kindergartens and the systems of help. So I think in those aspects, I think it changed the political life a bit in Norway, and I think still it's. But I'm not of those people who believe that women make the world more peaceful just because of our gender. I think it's because of the political ideas we have, and if that's, you can have rotten politicians, both as men and women, I think, in all over the world, and you can have great politicians of both sexes. But I think it's good for like it was good for me to see those who went in front. It's good for the youth of today to see women in all types of positions, because it becomes natural, and then it doesn't make it difficult for the next generation to continue.